Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. So thanks for joining. My name is Will Cooper. I'm with Infowise Solutions. I am a SharePoint developer and trainer for Infowise. And for our presentation today, I want to show you how you can build a learning management system in SharePoint using Infowise tools. My background is with Microsoft tools and web development. And I've been doing consulting and IT for over 10 years. I really love this product. I was a long time a Infowise customer before working with them. And I now have the opportunity to talk to other businesses and organizations that are using SharePoint. So it's a great product, and I really want to have the opportunity to help show you how it's easy to use, and it really can help you to build solutions on your own in SharePoint. So first thing I want to talk about in our presentation today, I want to talk about some of the goals for a basic learning management system, show our design pattern as far as what we want to create SharePoint. And then after that, we're going to actually take a look and see a fully built out solution. So I've just got a few diagrams I want to review here. You're dealing with a training system. Inevitably, you've got security groups that you need to use. You're going to have some users that need to do more administrative type actions. They're going to create courses and classes and that type of thing. You've got your instructors for any type of training sessions that you're going to do. And then you have employees. So my recommendation would be to create a dedicated site in SharePoint. Just a regular team site would be fine. And then in that site, you want to provision some basic SharePoint security groups so that you can control the system in terms of which fields users are able to update or look at, that type of thing. So that would be kind of a first step no matter what. But as you can tell, we can do that real simply. Basically, we just need admins, instructors, and employees. We know that we're going to need some basic dashboards. In our system, we need a way to create the actual courses, which should define what's going to be taught. And that would include training documents and that type of thing, as well as the content for the class. And then for classes, what we're going to do is actually pick a course. So these are the actual scheduled calendar events. So we want to be able to have a dashboard for that. And then depending on your role, you're going to want to look at a screen that would show you just relevant information. So we know we're going to need a training calendar. Everybody wants to be able to look at the calendar to see upcoming training. We want to have the ability for a student to just look at their own classes or calendar, and then the instructor may like to look at just classes that they're teaching. So we want to take advantage of SharePoint views and set up some dashboards that people can jump to just to look at the relevant information. In terms of how this system should work, we want to keep things really basic and clean. So the first thing would be the system needs to allow us to create training courses. So we want to be able to attach training documents. We want to be able to put in training content and actually define what the courses are in our organization. So that's kind of a first step. The next step is going to be actually scheduling classes on the calendar. So these will have an instructor, and we want to pick a start and end date and time, define that kind of thing. So that's kind of the next thing to do. Once you actually have classes up on a training calendar, at that point we want this to be sort of a self-service portal where students or people in your organization can come in and see classes that are scheduled and go ahead and sign up for that. With any kind of a training system, you're going to need to have email reminders to go out automatically. We don't want to have any kind of manual process here. And then we need to be able to update those classes. We want to record, once the enrollment is full, once the class is complete, those types of things. So we need to get some metrics off of that, and that kind of leads into the next thing. We'll certainly want to be able to do reporting. Many organizations have plans for the employees. They want them to complete a certain amount of training per year, that type of thing. So we want to incorporate that into the solution. So the last thing I want to leave you with is that really, based on our simple requirements that I showed, we only actually need a couple of lists in SharePoint, and that's what I'm going to show you in this example solution. We just really have a list for courses and for classes. So this is an easy setup. Doesn't have a lot of extra complexity and hassle as far as managing this overall system. Before I go further, I did want to call your attention to the chat interface. You may have some questions as I'm demonstrating some of the solution in SharePoint and going through settings, and we certainly do want those questions and feedback. And that's going to be the best way for me to help. Towards the end of the presentation, I'll actually try to answer some of those questions, and we'll stay on to make sure all your questions are answered. So do use that chat interface in the sidebar for the go-to meeting client. All right, we're ready to jump to SharePoint. Now we get to go to the fun stuff. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is walk you through the solution. So we're going to kind of start with the end first. I want you to see how this works, what we built, and then I'm actually going to dig down and show you how you'd be able to create this from the SharePoint interface. The biggest thing that I want you to see in the presentation is just how easy this is to set up. There's no code. I don't have to go into any kind of external tools. I don't have to go into SharePoint Designer. I don't have to do any programming. There's no technical requirements here. This is all intuitive, and it's just through menus directly in SharePoint. And this would work both for on-premise SharePoint, all versions, or for SharePoint Online. Either one, you can use this product to build this type of solution. So this is our main learning management system dashboard. So this just kind of shows us everything that's going on. So this could have a lot of information. So I mentioned that we really just need two lists. So the first part of our solution is our courses. So we just have a list which defines things that can be taught. We know that there's going to be a name for particular courses, and then we need to provide some description and details. So if you have existing training information, you can kind of dump it in here and port this into SharePoint pretty quickly. We know we want some metadata, so we want to have some categories. Notice that I'm using some icons here. This is really a key part of these solutions. We have indicators and icons which help give us a nice visual presentation. Makes it a lot nicer to look at and easier to understand. Training might be delivered different ways. Some training might be more of a lecture kind of training. Sometimes it's something that you do self-guided without an instructor. So probably we want to take note of the format. And then, of course, training can run the gamut in terms of difficulty. It might be sort of an introductory class or high level. So really you could add fields and tick this to whatever extent you need, but this is just some basic information about the course. The nice thing about this model is that if I need to update that course information, I can do that at any time. So if there's any classes linked to that course, it's going to update whenever I do that. So really simple to manage. It's just a SharePoint list, and I'm using some of these nice color choice fields with the icons that I have with the Infowise. So I have a nice visual indication to show me the difference in these courses. After that, once you have your courses set up, basically it just comes down to scheduling classes. So you can see I've already set up some things in the calendar. One key factor here is the status, which tells me ones that are maybe open for enrollment or possibly it's closed. On the right, you see an indicator, progress bar on the right, and it helps me to really quickly see which classes are close to being full or which ones don't have many students in them. So And you can see that it changes color. I've got one that's red because there's only 4 people that can be in this class, and we already have everybody signed up. Okay, so in the SharePoint form, we need to capture, the critical information. Of course, we need to know when that class starts and ends, both the date and time. And then if there's particular notes about the class, we want to enter that. The link to the course is just a simple lookup. So here's a list of all of our courses that we have available. So I can go into the system and add a class based on any of those courses, and we can have a link to that. We need to indicate the seat limit. So in this case, it was only 4 people. The instructor is going to be key. That plays into permissions. I'm going to show you that in a second. And then as we enroll people for this, we're going to keep it very simple, just using a SharePoint people picker field to populate the people in this. So I can add as many people as I want. In this system, it's designed that the instructor will actually be the one to add or remove students on the class. So the student will request to join the class by using this sign up. And then if the instructor needs an email update, they can just use that simple checkbox at the bottom. So we have some functionality for people to ask to sign up for classes. Okay, so let me show you next, how the emails will be tied to this. So let's say that I want to sign up for Employee Onboarding 101. I need to sign up for that. What I can do as a student, I can go in here and say, yeah, I want to sign up for that. And I just have to put my name and hit save. And what that will do is automatically trigger an email notification to the instructor, and then the instructor will be prompted. Then they know they can, go in there and add a student for the class. The other thing that's going to be really important, we want to have email notifications go out in the case that we have an update for the class, or you want to update it. Also, if it's like a day before the class. So email notifications are really important for our students, and we want to make sure they're updated with all the current information as much as possible. So another thing I can do is go in here and I can do email update as the instructor, and I'll show you how this is locked down. I'm set as instructor so I can access this field. But basically, just through a simple checkbox, I can push out an email update to all of the students and everybody. I don't have to go into Outlook or do any extra steps in order to accomplish that. So that'll trigger the system to send out some email notifications. Okay. One thing I want to also talk about is the calendar. So Infowise does include a calendar tool, which is substantially more configurable and has many more options than a standard out-of-the-box SharePoint calendar. So with the LMS calendar, we want to be able to just go in here and see all of the training events that are going on. One sec, it's being a little bit slow. All right, so while it's chewing on that, I'll show you. The other thing that's important for us to be able to do is just see my own training events. We don't want to make students have to see a list of every single training event for every employee. That wouldn't make any sense. I should be able to just go in the system and see, only my own events, and I'll show you how we can do that using filter view for the list. Okay, so I have a list of my classes, and this is working off the students field. So even though there's a ton of stuff, really as a student, I just want to see the stuff that I've signed up. So that's a key part of this. And then also, I want to be able to look at a calendar view which shows just the events that I'm signed up for instead of having to look at all of the events on the calendar. So that's kind of a key part of the solution. Another reason that's important is for reporting, because HR might like to look and see, have you done all your required training for this year, that type of thing. So that filter ends up helping us a lot. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is actually dig into how you can build this style of solution in SharePoint. Kind of what are the steps? What does the process look like for you to make this type of system for your own organization? And I really hope to show you how easy that really is. The first step in any kind of process building a SharePoint tool is just a standard process of creating a list with SharePoint fields. But at that point, you can take advantage of the Infowise configuration settings to really build out the solution. So in order to work with the Infowise settings, you always do the same thing. You can go to the list view and you go to the Infowise design screen. So from the context of any list, if I go to the ribbon toolbar, I just go to these colored puzzle pieces, and this will take me into the Infowise design dashboard. And at this screen, the first thing you do is you can use a tab settings interface, which lets you create and set up multiple tabs and map those to the tabs. Really easy to do. You just pick fields, move it onto the tab, and then you can reorder and control those however you want. Another nice aspect of this, if for some reason I want to change the look and feel of the form, I can start to do some of that just with some basic drop-downs. So you can see there's 6 options. Rather than just always being stuck with the same form view in SharePoint no matter what, this lets you get a different kind of look and feel. Okay, so tab settings are the first thing that you're going to take a look at. I mentioned that we have security groups here, and that's going to be important in this solution. We want our instructor to be able to have control as far as sending updates or setting up students, and we need to do that dynamically. So this can be done with column permissions. Normally in SharePoint, really, you're kind of limited in terms of how you permission things, and it's done at a broad level for a site or a list, usually. With these tools, you can actually lock down specific fields by role. So the way I set up my system, I have it where only the instructor is able to update the students field, but other users just see a list of the students. So that's great. We really need to make it different in terms of how different roles interact with the system. The email update, really want this just as an option for the instructor to update people. So same type of thing there. We don't want that option to show to most users, but we want it to be for the instructor. Great thing about this isn't statically defined. This is according to the field value in that people picker for the class for instructor. So this is a very dynamic solution where those security settings change automatically for classes. So as an instructor, really I can just do those advanced actions only if it's my class. You saw there's these indicator fields and icons. I wanted to show that to you real quick. These are used in all kinds of solutions that you build with Infowise, and this is what really makes your dashboards look nice. It's easy to do this. Basically, this type of column is like a choice column, except that you're able to set up and assign your own icons. There's 250 choices, so just about anything you can think of, and I can map that to those fields. So as a user, just have a really nice visual indicator of status or category or things like that. So those are really easy to set up, just simple. So I just map those. I come back to my design screen hub. The event calendar, you have a lot of configuration options here, but really the way that it works is simple. You plug the calendar into your list. In our case, it's classes, and all we really have to do is say, which field has the start, which field has the end, what are we using for categories. Just basically mapping some settings to help the calendar understand how should I present information? The thing that's nice about that is there is a lot of flexibility. In the calendar view, I can do a month view, which is typical, but I can also do week, daily, or I can do a Gantt view as well. So there's a lot of different ways to present that data. So that's a really nice option to take advantage of. So all I have to do is just use these calendar settings to set up that type of functionality. Kind of the last major thing that I wanted to show you, actually let me show my email real quick. One second. So here's a enrollment request for employee onboarding, and then we have one for kind of an update. So those are the email notifications that are going out to users. So that's going to be really a key aspect of this. Everyone needs to stay up to date if the class time changes, that type of thing. In order to control email notifications, you have a lot of extra functionality with Infowise. Really kind of the opposite end of the spectrum from the very simple availability of alerts with SharePoint. In order to do that, I really just need to go to the classes list, and when I go to the ribbon toolbar, I can click on this orange bell, and I can just apply some basic settings to make that work. So I mentioned a couple of things earlier. Students need to be able to ask to sign up for the class. So in order to do that, that would be an enrollment request. This is a rule I created earlier. And I'll just walk through the settings. There's really not very much that you have to do. First thing to do, you need to be able to say, who the recipients are. So you're going to set who that goes to. Then you're going to set conditions as far as when that's supposed to go out. And then you're going to pick a template for that. The cool thing with the recipients is this is something you can tie to fields. So this is the request. This is where the student put in information to sign up, and then this is going to generate an email to the instructor and a confirmation back to the person who signed up. When I work with this system, I like to blind copy myself on email alerts. It's just a nice confirmation for me to see that the overall system's working the way that I want. So with the what to send section, basically I just need a simple rule here. I'm saying when the record's edited and the sign up field value after change isn't blank. So if somebody's put a name in here, and I just need to trigger an email when that happens. At that point, all I have to do is pick an email template. This is a visual editor tool where you can use formatting, and you can really kind of dress things up and use shading and that type of thing. So those are really easy to work with. If I go in here, I've got formatting tools, so you can see I can use highlighting, and then in the bottom you can put a link back to the SharePoint list. So actually when they click in the email, it'll take them directly into that detailed information. So with the tool, it's going to automatically show you a list of the fields in your list, as well as some useful links back to the site, that type of thing. So you can build dynamic information rather than just sending a static email that kind of always says the same thing. So that's really, the extent of email. It's just very easy to do, and of course that's going to be extremely important as far as building out the learning management system. So that's kind of the key functionality to the system. All of this is built directly into SharePoint. So really just with a few mouse clicks you can be taken to those different pages. You can see that our dashboard gives us a lot of critical information. I could do totals to find out, for example, how many hours students are spending on training for an individual student. So I could do a nice report out from that. I can look at this by status. We can look at, by different departments, what kind of training they have set up. So this is a nice centralized shared system that everybody can get to and look at the specific information that they need. So that's really the key information I want to show you about the learning management system. This isn't necessarily a prepackaged template. What I want you to see with this tool is that you can really build a system according to your own requirements. Every organization is a little bit different, but really it's just a matter of first building those SharePoint lists and then building out your functionality with the Infowise configuration. So really just about any kind of requirement that you could think of, you can build that in. One last thing that I'll show you as far as the Infowise functionality is Infowise Actions. So the business logic needs to be developed somewhere. Normally you would have to go through a lot of steps that are very technical in an additional tool in SharePoint Designer, which can be a painful process and really is not accessible to most users of SharePoint. With Infowise, you have an Actions menu which lets you create basic rules just to trigger specific events. So in my case, for example, I needed to reset the sign up and email fields for the checkbox and name each time the form's edited. And I can create a whole chain of actions to handle that business logic. I may want something particular to happen when the class is marked complete, for example. There's lots of things I might need to respond to, but all those things you typically might have done with SharePoint workflow, you can build out that logic with these actions. So that's what the purpose is for that section. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just talk to you about kind of next steps, what's available to you, how things work. So some of the folks watching the presentation, you may be using SharePoint Online, and some folks are with on-premise SharePoint. Again, for on-premise SharePoint, this is going to pretty much work with all versions. As long as you're SharePoint 2010 or newer, and regardless of the version, if you have standard or enterprise, it's going to work no matter what's the case. There is a free demo that's very easy to download and install. It doesn't cost anything. It is the full product, and you can install it and really get in there and start working with the tools right away. So if you go to our site, just go to the products section and then select whether you're on-premise or Office 365, and then you can go for that download. So that'll give you a chance to try it out and really find out how this works before you might be ready to make that full decision to buy this. As far as the pricing, it varies a little different between the two products, but it is an excellent value in any case, just because the extent to which this extends SharePoint and lets you build solutions right from the browser. We do have extensive training information, which includes lots of screenshots, detailed step-by-step, and YouTube videos. And then additional thing that I mentioned, for organizations that are new to Infowise, if you really want to hit the ground running and ramp up quickly, we do offer an instructor-guided foundation training class. So this might make this platform a little more accessible to you if you want to invest and spend a little time. So that's basically a 5-hour training delivered over the web. So that's an option to you if you feel like you'd like a little bit of help as you're getting started. So that's most of what I wanted to talk about in our presentation today. We do have a webinar coming up next month on March 16th at 11 a.m. We'll post information on our website. The topic for our next webinar is SharePoint automation and how to do that easily with Infowise. So Last thing I wanted to say, if you have any questions at all, if you'd like a demo of our product to be scheduled with you individually, we'd be very happy to do that. Please send us an email to sales@infowisesolutions.com. I will post a recording of our webinar through YouTube, and that'll be in our website later today. Again, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate the opportunity to show you our product and show you the solution. And I hope that you can take that next step to learn more about developing solutions in SharePoint just through your browser. Thank you very much.